Well, now that we've looked back at what I wrote about all the Democratic presidential candidates that competed in the first debate, now that you've heard my passionate plea at what the stakes are on Election Day, let's take a look at the other end of the ticket, the vice presidency. Um, we have some advantages in Joe Biden's search for a vice presidential candidate. We know, for instance, it will be a female. How do we know this? Joe Biden himself told us this. In the last debate of the primary season that he had when he competed with Bernie Sanders at that television studio in Washington, D.C., he committed to picking a female running mate. So we know it's going to be a female. I'm just going to go over a list of some of the possibilities that have been reported, and I'm going to suggest a couple that I have not heard buzz about that I think might make interesting picks. And I'll give their qualities that they would bring to the ticket, and definitely some possible drawbacks to them. So, let's go with the obvious names that are on the list for sure. Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and Amy Klobuchar. All senators from California, Massachusetts, and Minnesota, respectively. The knock against Warren will be that she is a tax and spend Massachusetts liberal. That will be the Republican playbook. And the fact that she's a liberal darling. That will be the knock against her. The qualities she brings to the ticket are immense. Elizabeth Warren is a person that has thought about policy deeply, has examined these issues in depth, and enjoys a good debate on policy. She would, I think, her and Mike Pence, the debate they would have would be very, very interesting, and a big contrast between the two. I think she would. It would not be good for Mike Pence. Kamala Harris. The knock against her will be she's a California liberal. That she's far out there on the left. This is what they'll say against her. But the qualities she brings are huge. She brings in a voice that's never been represented on a national ticket. At the top or bottom, she's a female woman of color that has never been at the top of a major party ticket for president or vice president. She would also bring another perspective to the table that has never, to my knowledge, been presented by a female that has ran at the top or bottom of a ticket. She has never had children of her own. She is a professional woman that made a decision to have a career and forego children. There's tons of Americans that have chosen to forego children. She has stepchildren, but she does not have biological children. And I think that that would be a needed um, voice for a country where more women are choosing not to have children and women are choosing to have children later. And certainly a growing number of men are also choosing not to have children. Um, I think that's a needed voice in the highest office in the land. I uh, do not see myself ever fathering children. It's just a personal decision. Uh, I don't see that as something that I necessarily have to do to have a fulfilling life. So um, I would like to hear that perspective from someone and speak passionately about it. I find that just to be a great thing that we need to. Um, in certain parts of the country, people look down on that, and it is wrong. I certainly think that it is one of the most empowered decisions you can make. Amy Klobuchar, senator from Minnesota. She's Midwestern, is the strength that she brings. She has a record of winning races and winning races big. She can win in red districts and blue districts and has a good down home manner and a streak that comes across. She has a sense of humor. Um, the biggest knock against her is going to be she's moderate. She was the district attorney for Minneapolis, Minnesota, and did not bring charges against the police there in a number of cases that, with hindsight, look pretty bad. So that's definitely gonna hurt her chances. Keisha Lance Bottoms, Mayor Bottoms of Atlanta. The biggest pluses in her favor. She's a young African American female who is a mother of young boys. In this moment, that might be the biggest advantage of any. And she has spoken passionately about her sons and the fact that even though she is the mayor of Atlanta, she knows that she can't always protect her boys. And that was a very emotional press conference to watch with her, where she was talking about calling her son when the protest first broke out in Atlanta. The biggest knock against her, the highest office she has ever held, is the current office she holds. Atlanta is a major city in this country and an important city, but is the first term not even a complete term as mayor a launching board to the presidency. Gretchen Whitmore, governor of Michigan, Midwesterner with executive experience, who has shown during the coronavirus to be a very effective leader during her first term as governor. Biggest knock against her, she is a first-term governor. And the recent record of picking candidates with the same amount of experience as Whitmore as your running mate are not good. See Sarah Palin. Some names that gather buzz, but really I think should get more a better look, is Tammy Baldwin. Tammy Baldwin is a senator from Wisconsin. That should be enough right there. She's a senator from Wisconsin that won in 2018 by 10 percentage points. How important is Wisconsin? You'll see in the coming months with the amount of time that is spent there. The biggest knock against her is she's a left-wing lesbian from Madison. And if you don't think the Republicans are going to make an issue out of that, you aren't paying attention. I think Tammy Baldwin would make an excellent vice president, but the attacks on her would be brutal. Tammy Duckworth. I think Tammy Duckworth would be an amazing vice president. She's a senator from Illinois. She's a disabled female combat veteran from the war in Iraq. The fear that I would have with her on the ticket is this. Senator Duckworth was born in Thailand while her father was stationed abroad working for the United Nations. Her father was an American-born veteran. If you thought that the birtherism, and they were the very nasty, racist attacks on Barack Obama, you ain't seen nothing yet until they get a hold of Senator Duckworth. By the way, Senator Duckworth lost both her legs fighting for this country. So when they attack her for that, you better believe I'll come with a fire of 1,000 suns. Some people that I have not heard buzz about, but I think should be getting some buzz. Kyrsten Sinema, senator from Arizona. She flipped a red Senate seat to blue. Has shown that she's able to work across the aisle. Really an amazing story. Pulled herself up from abject poverty. I really like Kyrsten Sinema. She's got a PhD. I think she's great. The biggest knock against her that the Republicans are going to run is she's non-religious. She's bisexual. Neither one of those things are in any way demeaning of her character or her ability to be vice president. But the Republicans will definitely use that against her. Gina Raimondo, the governor of Rhode Island, I think would make a good pick as well. She's a very moderate New England Democrat governor. Like, if not against her, she's unpopular in her own state. So, those are the names that I covered tonight. My bottom line is, at this moment, I really don't know who would make the best pick. If I had to put my money on anyone who I think will be picked, I think Harris is probably the front runner. I'll see you all tomorrow.